Good evening and welcome to ITV News. This is Friday night's calendar.
Hello, good evening. Here are tonight's main stories.
Try to find a good life, a safe life, and to complete his education.
Ahmad Al-Ibrahim left Syria with dreams of becoming a doctor in Yorkshire. Today his family watched as the man who murdered him after a chance encounter on Huddersfield High Street was jailed for life.
Also tonight, after a 2-week inquest, a coroner concludes that a football fan died of natural causes during a game at Hillsborough.
Counting the cost of the Langdale Moor fire as the extent of the environmental and even cultural damage becomes clear.
You're saying potentially we've lost here things that are hundreds, maybe thousands of years old?
That's certainly what's happened.
Calendar's cameras are given access as experts assess the damage for the first time. Plus,
and I'm in Sheffield, where a constellation of stars have come together to play a sport that's all in the name of charity.
good evening. He'd come to the UK to escape war-torn Syria with dreams of becoming a doctor. But just 2 weeks after arriving here, 16-year-old Ahmad Al-Ibrahim was to die on a bustling street in Huddersfield, the victim of a random, unprovoked stabbing attack.
Today, his killer, 20-year-old Alfie Franco, was jailed for life for Ahmad's murder. He'd claimed self-defence, but the jury in a 6-day trial at Leeds Crown Court did not believe him.
Ahmad Al-Ibrahim's family have been left heartbroken by his death. His uncle has been talking to our reporter Helen Steele.
Ahmad Al-Ibrahim had moved from Syria for a better life.
And he tried to find a good life, a safe life, and to complete his education. He's hoped to be a doctor.
In April, he moved in with his uncle Ghazwan, celebrating his first Eid with his family. He'd never left home alone in Syria, the constant threat of bombs stopping everyday activity. But it was in broad daylight in Huddersfield that he brutally lost his life. He'd been going to visit the college he hoped to attend.
This is the second time he go alone to the town centre without me or my wife, or without support or care. He'd been alone. He met his friend in the bus station. He spent the day around. He eat in Huddersfield as well.
But after innocently walking past a stranger in the street, that stranger, 20-year-old Alfie Franco, calls him back. Reaching for a knife, he then stabs Ahmad in the neck, leaving him to stagger away bleeding, later dying in hospital. They were images shown a number of times during Franco's trial.
You had to sit through the CCTV, the video of it.
Yeah.
How was that for you?
Like I say, I spent time in court. It's too hard hearing, too hard seeing, and even I can't mention to stay all the time. I keep going out when the videos come. I can't look to the video. It's affect me and my family behind, and all of them, everybody. Everybody knows Ahmed. He gets shocked, believe.
After Franco was found guilty of murder, detectives who dealt with the case said his defence, that he felt threatened by Ahmad, was completely unbelievable.
The CCTV shows that this wasn't a violent incident on his behalf. He walked past, he was called back and then brutally stabbed in the throat, ending his life.
Franco today begins a minimum of 23 years behind bars.
Obviously, as we Muslim, we accept Ahmed die. Yeah. He passed away. He's not going to come back to the life. Doesn't matter what happened. But the guy is too dangerous. He should spend his life in prison. He took Ahmed's life. He should spend his life as well. Ahmed, we miss you.
Well, what did the judge have to say as he sentenced Franco, Helen?
Well, we've just heard how Franco's defence centred around his claim that he was somehow provoked. But the judge today reiterated that Ahmed was a completely innocent bystander, a boy who'd fled war only to be stabbed on his way to look round a college in Huddersfield. In sentencing Franco, the judge said Ahmad Al-Ibrahim was a 16-year-old boy and was in the UK to further his education, away from the direct danger in Syria, where he'd already suffered harm from an explosive. You tried to portray him as aggressive and threatening, but CCTV reveals you were under no threat whatsoever. He must have been terrified and in great pain. Well, Franco today showed no emotion as the judge told him he must serve 23 years behind bars before a parole board determines whether he is safe to be released.
Helen Steele at Leeds Crown Court for us, thank you.
It was one of Yorkshire's biggest wildfires in living memory, a major incident which consumed communities in the North York Moors for weeks and saw volunteers joining an extraordinary effort to bring it under control.
Well, only now have experts been able to get back onto Langdale Moor to assess the damage. Many areas remain closed to the public, but we've been invited along to see the impact of the enormous blaze.
It's still too early to determine how long the land will take to recover, but ecologists fear it could be hundreds of years. Michael Billington reports.
A vast swathe of the North York Moors ravaged by flames. Acres of scorched earth and miles of forest and moorland churned up in a desperate effort to prevent the spread of the advancing wildfire.
There's 50 kilometres of new fire breaks that were put in place to make sure that important areas like the forestry were protected, and with a fire that was moving as quickly as it was and across an area with unexploded ordnance and all of those risks, it was really important to make sure that we had the protection in place. But the damage that does and the amount that needs to be done to reinstate that is quite significant.
For almost 3 weeks, fire tore across 25 square kilometres.
There's smoke over there.
The fire service, alongside a volunteer army of farmers and landowners, fought to hold back the flames. 6 weeks after it was finally contained and under the supervision of the fire service, only now have experts returned to see firsthand what the fire left in its wake.
I'd never really seen anything like it before.
Archaeologist Miles Johnson fears historic remains he studied here may have been destroyed. You're saying potentially we've lost here things that are hundreds, maybe thousands of years old?
That's certainly what's happened. There's extensive prehistoric remains. In fact, the mound we're sat on is a Bronze Age barrow, and there's numerous examples of those kind of monuments, so dating from a couple of thousand years BC. Some of the damage to the historic environment will not be recoverable.
Ecologists say it could be hundreds of years before the natural environment recovers completely. This charred landscape shows just how incredibly vulnerable nature can be in the face of a changing climate. But take a closer look and there are signs of growth, tiny signs of just how resilient it can be too.
I'm really actually quite optimistic about how much growth we're seeing. You've got stuff like this here where you can see you've got grass that's already started to germinate and come through, which is brilliant and is what we need on this site.
Are we talking years, decades, centuries before it will recover to what it was?
Probably all of the above, really.
Even now, the ground still smoulders, and it's believed unexploded ammunition could still be scattered across this former army training ground. It means public access remains restricted.
At the moment, it's a very fragile location, and sort of traipsing across them, the moorland can cause unnecessary damage. So, as I say, there's very obvious defined public rights of way still that people should stick to. Stay off the black, stay on the green.
The investigation into how this fire began is still going on. Exactly how long this land will take to recover may take much longer to establish. Michael Billington, ITV News in the North York Moors.
Some more news from around the region, and 3 men have been arrested as part of a wider murder investigation into the death of teenager Harry Abbott in Leeds. The 19-year-old was fatally stabbed in Seacroft before being driven to St Wilfrid's Crescent in Hare Hills and dumped at about midday on Wednesday. West Yorkshire Police say he had been thrown from a vehicle and was pronounced dead at the scene. An 18-year-old woman who was arrested on suspicion of murder has been bailed, and 3 men now have been arrested on suspicion of aggravated burglary. A coroner has ruled that a West Brom fan who suffered a heart attack at Hillsborough during a championship match died of natural causes.
57-year-old Mark Townsend died after he went into cardiac arrest in the stands as his team took on Sheffield Wednesday last September.
Well, since his death, there have been questions over whether a faster medical response could have saved his life. Today, a coroner said although some improvements could be made at the stadium, On the balance of probabilities, his heart attack was unsurvivable. Ben Bason reports.
A husband, a brother, a football fan. Mark Townsend was devoted to his family and to his club. But last September, a trip to see his team West Brom play at Sheffield Wednesday was to be his last.
Best mate, brother, just a genuine, beautiful human being who's missed every day.
Mark collapsed in the stands at Hillsborough and went into cardiac arrest. He'd had a heart attack, which a coroner today said was unsurvivable. Paramedics were on the scene in 4.5 minutes and a shock delivered from a defibrillator in under 6 minutes. The coroner said the response time was comparable with that of a hospital. But she accepted there was confusion between two different medical teams treating Mark and raised concerns about a delay in stewards radioing through for medical support. Neither, though, she found, contributed to his death.
Yes, they've made recommendations and they're carrying through with the training with Yorkshire Ambulance and the stewards at Sheffield Wednesday. As long as that gets done, that's all I can hope for, and if it prevents another family going through what we, the Townsends, have gone through these last 12 months, it's worth it.
For Steve, being in Sheffield and at Hillsborough will forever remind him of his brother. The family has sat through every day of the 2-week inquest.
Hearing the different stories from the various witnesses, the jobs they did, what they saw, the actions they carried out in trying to save Mark that day. It has been quite distressing. All the family who were here have found it quite tough going.
West Brom runs in the family, and though Steve wasn't there that day with Mark, his 22-year-old son, Matt, Mark's nephew, was. This photo was taken a mere half an hour before he raised the alarm that his uncle was unwell.
For a young lad, he's done exceptionally well to cope with it. I'm not saying he's just sailed through it, but he's had some help and he's reached out to friends and family when he's needed to, and he's got through it. Very distressing scenes.
The coroner will now write to Sheffield Wednesday, asking them to do more to make stewards with radios accessible in the stadium, something the club say they will carefully consider. Meanwhile, the family hope that the end of this inquest will bring with it the closure they need on what happened to Mark. But he'll never be far from their thoughts.
Somebody who I miss every day. There won't be a day go past where I don't think of him. Just all round top bloke.
You're watching Calendar, and still to come before the end of the programme.
From one extreme to the other, why after last weekend's storm, this weekend will be the complete opposite. I'll have the forecast.
Of all the day's sport as we build up to a big night of boxing in Sheffield for Doncaster's comeback king, Dave Allen.
It's one of the fastest growing sports in the UK, and now a whole host of stars have come together, all in the name of a good cause. Join me here in Sheffield.
Once commonly known as working men's clubs, social clubs have been a part of British life for more than 160 years.
They're managed by their members and are a place to socialise, debate and entertain. But many in our region have closed their doors, while others are facing a fragile future.
Well, there are now calls for the government to provide support and recognise the impact these clubs have on our communities, as Cara Digby reports.
At Garforth Working Men's Club near Leeds, regulars here say it's more than just a place to have a drink and watch live sports.
I used to come in my pushchair, and I'm still here. My mum and dad still come in here. We all muck in if somebody needs something. It's a community hub and we build on that.
The club was nearly on the brink of closure. Staff say it's been an uphill struggle to balance the finances, describing every week as hand to mouth.
It's getting money in, basically, getting the people in. Your younger generation don't tend to want to come to working men's clubs, so it's getting them involved and getting them to come to here before they move on to other places. But it just doesn't happen these days.
Starting up in the 19th century, they were originally created to keep working men out of the pub. But over time, the patrons took ownership, alcohol was permitted, women could become full members, and for many, they were the beating heart of the community. But struggling finances, declining membership and an outdated image has meant many have shut their doors. At their peak in the 1970s, there were more than 4,000 social clubs across the country. That number has diminished by more than half. Almost all of them said they needed fundraising support, with 73% anticipating they'll need to borrow or raise money within the next 3 years. There are now calls for the government to create a 21st century social club charter, which would provide the framework to invest and modernise our clubs.
We want things like better training, we want patient and flexible funding for clubs, we want better tailored business support for them, and we want friendly policies so they can help themselves to be relevant to the next generation. These places they're cultural powerhouses. You can't go in one without hearing a really warm, positive, heart-filling story from somebody that has shaped society, that has shaped people.
The Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government says its £5 billion Pride in Place programme will deliver social clubs and other projects chosen by hundreds of communities. It said the programme will put local people in control of the cash, with new powers to shape their neighbourhoods over the next decade. Clubs hope that reminding people of the benefits they bring to the community and the role they play in our history will be the key to help secure their future. Cara Digby, ITV News.
And actually, I've got some friends who live where Lups at Working Men's Club in Wakefield used to be, and they've got a picture of it in their downstairs loo.
Well, pictures, that's all that's left from some of them. Sad.
Isn't it? Right, the ITV Evening News continues at 6:30. Here's a look at what's happening with Lucrezia Millarini.
Coming up on the ITV Evening News, a ceasefire begins in Gaza. As Israeli troops pull back, Palestinians start returning to their homes in the north. A deal was signed late last night. Within days, all hostages should be released. Also, the Pride of Hyde's final journey through Manchester. Thousands line the streets as boxer Ricky Hatton is laid to rest. And the Moody Blues singer and bass guitarist John Lodge has died, aged 82. Join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Thanks, Lucrezia. Well, it's time for some sport now, and a poignant moment before England's game with Wales last night.
Powering local sport in the community. Octopus Energy sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
And Chris is with us, of course. A 3-0 win for England last night, but it was something that happened well before the game that really pulled on the old heartstrings.
It was quite the sight, wasn't it, Ian? Yes, 22 football supporters living with dementia walked out alongside the England and Wales players at Wembley. One of them was Andy Paul from Knaresborough, a big Leeds United fan. The aim, to help raise funds and awareness of dementia. Kevin Ashford was there.
Mascot by the England defender Dan Burn during a surprise encounter at the England training centre.
Great to meet everyone.
And he says it had all been a special experience.
At first I was a bit nervous, but after being here today, it's an honour. But what is more of an honour is the fact that it's done for dementia. It's done for people living with dementia. And I gained recognition when I was stood in that, watching the England players come in. And Dan Burn has only ever seen me once before in his life. And he came in and he shook my hand and he gave me a genuine, he recognised me, you know, which means a lot,
Andy is among more than 80,000 people in Yorkshire and northern Lincolnshire who are currently living with dementia. And experts say the situation is set to get worse, with that figure predicted to rise to more than 112,000 by 2040.
Now, any football international here at Wembley Stadium, even a friendly, is going to attract a huge audience. You've got the people watching in the stands, and of course, you've got all those people watching on their televisions. So if you want to highlight an issue, this really is the perfect place to do it.
So many different types of dementia, and the 22 mascots each have their own different variation. It could be Alzheimer's disease, it could be vascular dementia, it could be frontotemporal. And I think it's so important that with those 22 mascots, we're able to demonstrate that dementia doesn't discriminate. Doesn't matter whether you...
United stand with those who are living with the condition. Kevin Ashford, ITV News.
Yeah, special night at Wembley. OK, some news from the world of rugby league now, and Danny Maguire is returning to the Leeds Rhinos. The 42-year-old is to join the Rhinos Foundation as Rugby League Impact and Growth Manager, responsible for driving participation in the sport for all ages. Meanwhile, former Bradford Bulls and England international Leon Price is the new head coach of York Valkyrie women's team following the departure of Lindsay Anfield, who leaves after 5 years in charge. Now, over 10,000 boxing fans will be at the Sheffield Arena tomorrow night to see the latest chapter in the incredible comeback story of heavyweight Dave Allen. Now, 5 years ago, Dave retired after falling out of love with the sport. But at 33, he's had a career resurgence and he's now a man in demand, and not just in the boxing ring.
Let's go then. So after my last fight, you know, I'm a boxer, I'm a fighter, people's champion, some say. And I just thought, what's next? Sat down and I thought, underwear icon, why not? You know, Beckham, Lundberg, Ronaldo, Dave Allen.
He's never been one to take himself too seriously, but Dave Allen is quickly becoming a seriously big deal in the boxing world. Just 5 years after retiring from professional boxing, tomorrow Dave is headlining the Sheffield Arena.
I walked in and I just see myself, my face all over. I just can't quite believe it, really. It's a bit surreal. Yeah, I'm proud, actually. It's nice. I'm looking around now, I'm everywhere. It's good, yeah, it's nice.
Do you have to pinch yourself at times?
A little bit, yeah, because it was all over. I was done and thought boxing was done. But I'm happy where I'm at, yeah.
Dave was your typical journeyman boxer. Some wins, some defeats. Always popular, but never really considered headline material. That all changed with this victory over Johnny Fisher in May.
Dave Allen!
What do you put this resurgence down to?
You know, a few things really. I had 2 kids. My grandparents passed away, and you know, probably a mix of them things really matured me.
I was one of the people saying 2 years ago probably he should retire from the sport and he shouldn't be involved in certain fights because I don't think he was applying himself to the sport. But to see how he's turned himself around, turned his life around is a great thing to see, because he's a nice person who deserves every opportunity that he gets.
His next opponent, though, looks pretty intimidating. It's said Arslanbek Makhmudov prepares for his fight by wrestling bears in his native Russia. So Dave knows victory tomorrow will see him further claw his way up the rankings.
I'm from Conisborough, down here, a little village. We don't headline shows, but this is the biggest one. This one will catapult me into super fights on the biggest stages. So we're very close, but we are very far away because I've still got to beat a very, very big, very good Russian opponent.
Tell me about the underwear modelling. How did that come about?
Yeah, a friend got in touch and said, we're looking for an underwear model. So I said, why me? I got paid well to get well looked after and walk about in my underpants, so it was quite a good deal, yeah.
Well, if he wins tomorrow, we might well be seeing even more of Dave Allen.
Cut anyway, I've got to go now. Buy a drum.
Quite the characters, Dave, as you can see. But you know what? Good example to kids, isn't it? Never give up on your dreams, because you never know. You might be walking around your pants one day. And getting paid for it as well.
Fighting a giant Russian boxer.
Exactly. Not quite that, but yeah, who knows?
I think we'll leave it there, Chris. Thank you very much indeed. Now, finally, it's an all-star turnout in Sheffield this evening for a paddle tournament, all in aid of Sheffield Children's Hospital Charity's mental health campaign.
Yes, celebrities taking part include Olympian Dame Jessica Ennis-Hill, cricketer Joe Root and comedian John Richardson. Well, our reporter Adam Fowler has joined them and is there for us now. Adam, what's all this about?
Well, it's a game that requires strength, skill and stamina. So who better to play it than an Olympic gold medalist, Dame Jess Ennis-Hill, a former cricket captain for England, Joe Root, and John Richardson. These guys have just been playing here. Jess and Joe, you've just been playing against each other. Who won?
Well, we're in the middle of it.
Oh, you've just taken a little... Well, who's in the lead then?
Drinks break. Joe's in the lead, obviously.
He has an advantage, though, because he's handy with the bat, isn't he?
Yeah, there's a few crossover skills, so I'm quite lucky in that respect.
Yeah. And John, how have you been getting on? It'd be like a busman's holiday for you, this one.
It is, yeah. I noticed you didn't list my sporting credentials when you introduced everyone, so I don't know if you want to do it now. I've had a go, yeah, it's all right. Yeah. It's fine, isn't it?
And I've been watching it, and to be honest, I can't make head nor tail of it. How do you even score a point in this game?
Ask the master here.
Well,
It's pretty much like tennis or squash with like a combination of the two together. So the scoring's similar to tennis, and basically you want to make the ball bounce twice.
Yeah, and of course you're all patrons of Sheffield Children's Hospital, and all of this is for a good cause as well. People have paid a lot of money in an auction to come and play with you, and tell us a little bit about why you're doing this, Jess.
Yeah, so we're all patrons of the Sheffield Children's Hospital, but all the money raised here is going to a campaign that we're all supporting, Bright Young Dreams. It's all raised around trying to get awareness around children's mental health and the provisions that they need, and just raising them as much awareness and money to help that side of the charity.
Yeah, because and it's such an important thing, isn't it? Because children do struggle with mental health, John.
Yeah, well, we're all talking about the struggles at the minute. I think sometimes you can feel like you want to help something get done, and with the Bright Young Dreams now, we're starting to see this money have a real effect. We've got an amazing thing called the Lucy Project I would encourage people to look into. We're funding it now. It's making a difference now to kids' lives, which is, you want to feel like you're starting to claw back and win a little bit.
Yeah. So who's your money on to win then? Who do you reckon, who's going to win out of you three?
Well,
there's a few handy players
there's
here,
some
to be
good
fair.
players.
There is?
Yeah, we've got Nick Matthews here, former world champion squash player. He's incredible, isn't he? So
You've got the giant here, the gladiator.
yeah, I've not played him yet. I'm a bit nervous about that.
He's a big lad. All right, listen, thank you very much, guys. Obviously, this is the first time they've done this, but it is open to some of the biggest celebrities in the region. So, Ian and Amelia, I've put your names forward. Hope that's all right.
Thanks very much, Adam. I'm not too sure about that. How do you think we'd get on,
Throw
Amelia?
us in the deep end against those three, I think. Maybe John Richardson would be all right.
Star-studded programme tonight, though.
I know, yeah.
Very good.
Anyway, let's get the weather with Nick Miller.
Today's forecast: seafood and sugar cube towns. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Hello, it was a fine start to our Friday. It clouded over. The sun lasted longest along the coast, so it's been a lovely day here. We'll all get to see some occasional sunshine through the course of this weekend, and such a different weekend after Storm Amy. The strong winds of last weekend, the complete opposite this weekend. From one extreme to the other, high pressure in control, barely a breath of wind, some occasional sunshine. The high pressure staying all the way through next week as well, although by then we are expecting more cloud in the sky once again. For now, though, what cloud has built up will gradually fade away through the course of the night, but with clear skies it will turn out to be fairly chilly, down towards mid-single figures, and you can just pick out some areas of fog developing, particularly down through the Vale of York. So you've got an early journey tomorrow, bear that in mind. It could be dense in a few spots. Sunrise tomorrow 7:25, and your sunset around about 6:20 in the evening. So we start the day tomorrow on a largely fine note, with the exception of some fog around. That will gradually clear, and tomorrow we see sunshine on and off throughout the day, and in fact it's looking largely blue sky for many of us. A glorious start to the weekend. Temperature may be a degree or so lower tomorrow, but then again in the sunshine it'll make for a very pleasant afternoon for this stage of October. And then through the night into Sunday morning, again the risk of some fog to begin the day, and I'm expecting a bit more cloud to start to push in across as Sunday goes on, but there'll still be some sunny spells around and a similar temperature on Sunday. If you find yourself in the sunshine this weekend, make the most of it. High pressure still next week, dry, settled, but there will be much more cloud in the sky.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Yes, all sides of life on calendar tonight, including underwear models.
And paddle players of all types.
Absolutely.
But not us.
That's the end for this week anyway. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you again on Monday at 6. For now, good night.
Bye-bye. See you later.